Hello everyone. Today I, Shivansh Bansal, co-founder at Law Community, welcome you all on Lawyers Speak. We have invited lecturer of OP Jindal Global Law School, Ms. Kirthana Singh Khurana. She is a master degree holder from the University of Cambridge in corporate law and also an academic member of the European Corporate Governance Institute. We welcome ma'am on our platform, and through this interaction, we are going to learn from her journey.
Hello, ma'am. Welcome to Law Community. So, ma'am, my first question is what factors influenced you to choose law as a career, and how was your law school experience like?
Alright, so firstly, I'd like to thank Shivansh and Shivang for inviting me to have this conversation with you. And it's a privilege to be here and to share with you my, journey with the legal profession so far. So to talk about, why I decided to pursue law, I think I have to owe to my family. So I belong to a family where my grandfather was a retired judge, and my father pursued law he studied law, but he didn't really pursue law as a career. And my mother also, studied law. So I think the inclination towards pursuing law as a career, I think came in my blood when I was born. So I was born with it. But later on, when was in my school, and during my penultimate years of school, I realized that this is something that is of my interest, and I would like to pursue. However, I'd like to mention that when I was in 11th, I realized that I was also interested in, how big corporates function and commerce as an area of interest as well. So at that time, I was really, I was not sure which field I wanted to take up. And so, I also started to prepare for my board exams well, and I had Delhi University in my mind. And I think it was, I sat for the 5-year LLB entrance exams as well, but I realized that, I had my interest split between these two areas, and I would like to actually pursue commerce first and then see if would want to pursue law later on. And that's what I did. So I did a 3-year BCom honors program at Shriram College of Commerce. And there, perhaps I realized that, this is not something that I would want to pursue. And law is my first love and remains so. And that is where actually I decided that I want to pursue a career in corporate law. And then I sat for my 3-year LLB program, and yeah, that's how I embarked on this journey towards my legal profession. And to talk about a little bit about my law school journey, I think those 3 years were definitely the best 3 years of my life. I was finally studying about subjects that I was actually, interested in, and I didn't even feel like missing out one class. I was so interested and intrigued by, every class that I attended. And that was like the best place that I could see myself being. And yeah, that was just a pleasure to be in the law fraternity, and that was perhaps the best decision I took.
So, ma'am, my next question is can moot, debate, and other form of activities help a student to build their career, and were you a part of the same in your law school?
So basically, when I was in my undergraduation years, when I was pursuing my BCom honors degree, I was a part of many, college societies, and I took part in a lot of extracurricular activities. And I personally feel that participating in these activities is very important, because not only do they help you to, improve at your studies, but you also develop a lot of skills while you participate in these activities and become a part of your college societies. One could be like how to work among team members. The other could be, to manage your time between your studies and extracurriculars. Then if we talk about moot courts and debates, I think they help you own your argumentative skills, and they help you with your research work. And all these, skills, you may not even, if you may not use them while you're at your law school, but you will definitely use them once you start your work life, and you use all these things when you do your job at law firms or be it at, working with some advocate. All these things will come handy when you later on pursue your job. And I mean, if I can talk about my experience, I don't really remember much about my classroom activities as much as I remember about the times that I spent with my friends organizing events and participating, in inter-college activities. So I think those are the memories that you have to carry along when you leave college. And so all these activities are actually very important. And I mean, to talk about your CV building, they actually show that you're an all-rounder and you can manage your time, well between your studies and your extracurriculars. So I believe that it's very important. And to talk about my law school journey, there I realized that I wanted to pursue my masters after I finished, I mean, my bachelor's degree. And so I was actually very much academically oriented. So all my activities were actually to further my research capabilities. And I took up good internships. I took up extra certification courses, and I developed my research skills, I think, during those 3 years. To sum up, like, my entire 6 year college journey, I can say that for the first 3 years I was more towards extracurriculars and probably slightly less inclined towards my academics. However, when I moved to my law school, and I realized that academic your scores do play a very important role when you apply for jobs, or when you apply for your masters. And I was so interested and intrigued in learning about law as such. So my orientation shifted towards academics and research more while I was at law school. So that was my entire journey with academics and extracurriculars.
So, ma'am, what is your role as an academic member of ECGI?
All right. So the European Corporate Governance Institute, basically, it's like a forum of debate and discussion and dialogue between, practitioners and academicians who are basically related to the field of corporate governance. And when I was pursuing my master's, all my professors were actually fellows and research members of ECGI. And when I actually shared with them that, this is a field that I'm interested in, they basically introduced me to this organization. And they told me that if even if you go through one article every day, which is published on this website of ECGI, I think you will make a very good researcher or an academician when you later on take up corporate law as a field of choice. So that was my first interface with this institution. And when I joined Jindal Global University as a lecturer, I believe that in order to, substantiate whatever lectures I take in the class, it is very important for me to keep reading and to keep updating myself with whatever is going around all around the world. And so I decided to become an academic member of ECGI. So basically, it's a place where people upload their research papers and share their research work with other academics and practitioners to take their views and comments on the same. And I think it's a very good place to network with people in your field who are interested in the same things that you are. And they keep having these webinars. Like now we moved to the webinars and online events and trainings, research groups and all. But otherwise, when we were not, stuck at homes and we could actually travel and attend conferences outside, it was a great place for practitioners and academicians all around the world in the field of corporate law and governance to come together and debate about issues, current issues that the world is facing in this regard. And to basically, so it is, associated with the governments as well. So in case any policy, suggestions need to come from academicians practicing all around the world, this is a great place for governments also to be associated with and to take advice and suggestions of people who are actually experienced in this field. So I think it's a great way for me when I want to pursue my doctoral studies to know what is going on around the world in the present corporate governance scenario, and to gain as much as information as I can, and keep updating myself as a academician and as a professor of corporate law. So that is why I joined ECGI, and that is possibly the role that I play in this institution.
So, ma'am, how was your experience as a community volunteer, and how is it different from the other activities which you have undertaken?
So basically, when I joined law school, I did realize the role of a lawyer. So, we need to understand the importance of a lawyer in the society, right? So I did realize when I was studying criminal law, when I studied family law, fundamental rights, all these rights are basically taught to us. But I think in our first 2 years, when I was doing my 3-year degree, so it was taught to me in my first year. And I realized that, as it is my responsibility to share this knowledge with people who are not aware of this knowledge, and I want to help as many people as possible, and realized my role as a lawyer in the society. So I decided to volunteer for an NGO that my parents were supporting for the longest time, called the Earth Saviors Foundation. So I I tried to help them as much as possible with their legal procedures, and to tell them about the rights that people have in the society. The other, I think, very impactful experience that I had was the internship that I did with this organization called MARC, which is Multiple Action Resource Group, which is placed out of Delhi. So basically, they carried a lot of workshops for a lot of companies and daily wage laborers and people who were actually not conversant with the laws existing in India. So that experience, I can still remember. It just changed my life, and it still, like, it left such an indelible imprint in my mind about the role that I have to play as a lawyer when I embark on my journey as a legal professional. So one incident that I can actually think of was that we organized this workshop for people, domestic helps and daily wager, people who used to work for factories and workshops. So basically, all these people who used to get very menial amount of money every day, and were not educated, were not literate, and they were not aware of their fundamental rights and the law of crimes as well. So we had like a 2-day workshop to tell. So we had around 20-25 daily wage ladies who had come to us, and we had prepared a workshop to tell them about the Sexual Harassment at Workplace Act, the fundamental rights that they have as citizens of India, then about the basic domestic violence, offenses, and criminal law, civil laws. So whatever basic information that we could provide to them, we did that. And after the session got over, they actually were teary-eyed, and they came to us and they said that thank you so much for organizing something like this, and you've actually opened our eyes to so many things that were happening around us, but we were never really, we were not sure if we had like legal rights to go forward and do something about it. So I think that experience really changed my life, and it was so different from whatever internships that I did, post that and previously with advocates and at law firms, where you were made to work on, you were made to interact with such rich, corporates and highly educated and smart people. And on the other hand, I get like during these internships, the social sector internships, I got to interact with a very different strata of society, and to empower them, I think gave me a sense of accomplishment, which I till date carry. And I still feel that all of us are so busy with our lives, but whenever we get a chance, I think all of us should go out and help whoever's in need, to empower them, to tell them about the laws existing in the country, and to actually recognize the importance that we hold as lawyers in the society, to spread knowledge, to spread empowerment as much as we can. And I think that was the impact that I carried with me after this, after these interfaces, and I still do. They still shape my vision about the legal profession.
As a professor, what do you think should be improved in imparting legal education in our country?
So one place where we think, where I personally think that we are still lacking, although we have made improvements over the years, is that our syllabus is very bookish. It's very technical, and we still don't have, a practice orientation while we impart education to our students. Although I agree that a lot of universities are now inculcating, the practice orientation that all of us have been talking for so many years, but I still feel that this thing is still somewhere, embedded while we start, some it is embedded in the way we teach while we are at school and we teach while we are at college, and this thing needs to be changed from the grassroots level, right? So when we start at school level also, I can remember that it used to be very bookish, and whatever I could learn from from whatever I learned from books was not something that I could actually implement in real life. And this still holds true with, as far as college education goes. So we have, whenever we join, like whenever we start working, we have specific training programs for students. And why do we waste so much time imparting this training? This should, I personally feel that this should be imparted in the college and the school level itself. So this is something that is the difference that Indian institutions have as regards foreign institutions, where they are much more case study oriented and practice oriented. And I feel that that should be the ideal way to go forward with it. When we talk about professional courses, I think, job or training is something that we should equip our students with, and this should be something that should be taken up by the universities and by actually UGC and all these governmental institutes who actually frame the regulations for colleges. I think this should be taken up by them. The other I think foreign collaborations is something that we are lacking at. So there should be more avenues for students to venture out of their colleges and to take up, semesters abroad. So collaborations is something that colleges should look at. Apart from these two things, I think research is something that all of us lack at when we talk about universities. Is that a lot of academicians still publish for the sake of publishing, right? And there is not much focus on the the quality of publications that you come out with. So I think that is something that we need to change as regards the education sector as a whole, and not just the legal education part. So research is something that our government or our university should actually invest in, and to train their faculty members in such a way that they come out with groundbreaking research, so that Indian universities are now, Indian universities should become a part of the world rankings. It's something that we are lacking at, and it's high time that we give ample importance to this. And I think, of course, we are on the right track, and hopefully in the few coming years we can see more universities featuring at world world rankings, and we take good constructive steps towards these three. I think these three areas of where the education is lacking at present. So this would be my view regarding this.
How is communication important for every person? And do you think lack of communication leads to a brain drain?
Right. So, like I mentioned, that there is a lack of practice orientation. Now, if you ask any law student why he would want to pursue a master's abroad, or why would he want to take up job opportunities abroad, the main reason is that whatever you lack in your LLB education is what you want to make up when you move abroad. And that is, I think, the main reason why I also went to pursue my master's abroad, is because I figured that if I have just the Indian law knowledge, it would not take me like to a higher place, or I would not be able to do well at my job in case I just carry the Indian legal knowledge that is taught to me in my law school. And that's why I decided that to pursue that's why I decided to pursue a master's abroad, because I wanted to gain an overall, like, a 360 international approach to corporate law, right? So what is happening in the US, what is happening in the UK, what happened in the Europe, and how the laws abroad impact what what the laws we have in India. So that was the main reason why I wanted to go abroad, was because the international orientation was something which was lacking in my Indian education, and that's what I wanted to gain when I went abroad. And that's why I think this is the main reason why a lot of people do go abroad, because of the international sort of a perspective that you get about laws, which is, I feel, in today's globalized world, it is very important for lawyers to have that perspective. The other I mean the reason why people want to go abroad to pursue their jobs is basically, I mean, lack of opportunities here basically. So of course, I mean, all of us know that there is a lot of competition as far as the Indian legal sector is concerned. And I mean, I can personally say that for your efforts you're not paid as much as you get paid abroad. So these are a few reasons why people look at moving abroad. But of course, I mean, we can look at these we can see a transformation happening. So from where we used to be, as I mean, if we talk about legal education, where we used to be in the 90s, we've seen a transformation. And overall, like it's nothing short of an overhaul that we've seen from the past 2 decades, from where we used to be in the 90s and where we are right now. So universities like Jindal, universities like Symbiosis and other NLUs are now actually building their syllabus in such a manner that there are more foreign faculties coming over to universities to teach subjects. There are guest lecturers coming from all over the world to come and share their experiences, share their knowledge with Indian students. So I think, I mean, we are on the right track, although it's going to take some time. But I am again hopeful that in the next 10 to 15 years we'll see more and more we can see probably a reverse brain drain, where people are actually leaving their jobs abroad and coming to India and working for the legal profession here. So let's hope for the better times, and I hope that in the future more we'll see a reverse brain drain more than a brain drain happening right now.
So, ma'am, my next question is: does GPA of a person indicates their actual abilities, and or there should be other parameters to judge a person?
All right. So I mean, I'm of the personal view that of course GPA is very important, but things like your extracurricular activities and your experiences, your internship experiences, your research experiences also play a very, very important role. And that's, like I mentioned, that it's very important for you to be a part of your extracurricular activities, become a part of your student unions and college societies, because a lot of traits that you imbibe from those activities is not something that you can definitely imbibe from your normal classroom experiences. So definitely all those virtues of being a team member, leadership qualities, to time management skills, all these things you can't learn from your your classroom experiences. Having said that, I personally feel that why GPA is considered, like, it's given so much importance by employers and universities all around the world, is perhaps because a good GPA tells you about a few qualities of a person. So one is that you can work under strict timelines, right? So if you can work under stressful timelines, if you can handle pressure, you'll be able to come up with a good GPA. So that is one of the indications that a good GPA tells your your employers and your universities. The other is, one thing I think is something that all of us can agree to, is that anybody who gets a good GPA, we can say that he can work hard. So hard work is one strength that gets shown by a good GPA. Other than that, maintaining a consistency, so academic consistency, reading every day, making your notes, attending classes, being focused are a few virtues that every employer actually looks for. And a GPA is something that tells him or her about the abilities of a person to work under pressure, to handle timelines, and to work hard. So I think that's why GPA is given so much importance by universities and employers, because these are the virtues that actually they look for when they look for their prospective candidates. So you should have a balance of these two things, but of course a good GPA does give a good impression to whoever's looking at your CV. So work towards that.
So, ma'am, lastly, what should be the internship plan that a student should undertake if they want to make a career bright like you? And also, what would be your guidance to them?
All right. So, if we talk about a 5-year law program, my advice would be to spend the couple of like your first 2 years discovering, yourself. So basically, you have to you can sign up for all sorts of internships. That is the time when you have to decide where your interest areas lie, right? So do internships with NGOs. Do internships with advocates. Try to do internships with law firms if they accept you. Try to do internships with district courts wherever you feel like. So try to venture out as much as you can during your first 2 years of law school. However, my personal suggestion would be to sort of try to see where your interest area lies in your third, or by the time you're in your fourth year of law school, so that your remaining internships are sort of in the same field. So for example, I was interested in corporate law. So my first 2 years, so I did a 3-year LLB degree. So my first year, basically, I ventured out. So I interned with senior advocates at Supreme Court, and then I also worked at a government department. Then I also worked at NGOs, and also I was trying to discover where my interest areas lie. Right. However, towards the end of my first, or I think middle of the second year, I realized that corporate law was my calling. So my remaining internships were at law firms, or like in-house counsel, like in-house departments at banks and different corporations. Then I also did like a commercial arbitration internship at a foreign law firm. So that's what I would also suggest, that just design your internships in your third and fourth year in your area of interest, so that when you sit for placements in your fifth year, you can explain to your prospective employers that, see, I sort of have and like experience in varied departments in my first 2 years. But when I realized that this is something I wanted to do in my third and fourth year, I specifically did internships in those areas of my area of interest. So in case you're interested in competition law, try to do your remaining third and fourth year internships in competition law, so that the employer sees some sort of value in you. They see some sort of an experience that you carry, and while your internships, you can cite whatever cases you worked at, whatever experiences you had at law firms, and you will be more successful at your interviews when you sit in your fifth year interviews, and when you can cite whatever experiences you had so far. So that is something that I did, and I think I did fairly well at my applications, internships, and my job interviews, when I was able to tell them about my interest in corporate law, and they could see from my CV that I was, my all my major internships were all in corporate law firms. So I mean, it is all about the impression that your CV gives to whoever's reading your CV, and that would be my advice to all first year, second year law students, and also the third year, fourth year law students, as to designing your internships in this manner that gives out a good impression to whoever's reading your CV. So that would primarily be my suggestion.